For 5 years, Harrison lived like a man whose joy had been buried alive. He had money, a big house, and people who smiled at him in public. But inside that home, nothing felt alive. Every day, he woke up to the same pain. The kind that does not leave when morning comes. The kind that sits on your chest, even when you are trying to breathe. The pain had names. Ethan and Noah, his twin boys. They used to run around the house like little storms, laughing, pushing toy cars, jumping on the couch when nobody was looking. Their mother used to shout, "Stop that!" But she would be smiling while she said it. Back then, Harrison thought his life was normal. He thought he had time. Then the accident came and took everything at once. That night, his wife never made it home. Ethan and Noah did, but they came back different. They came back in wheelchairs. Doctors used big words. They explained bones, nerves, damage, and chances. Harrison did not understand most of it. All he understood was the simple truth. His sons could not walk anymore. And not long after, they stopped doing other things, too. They stopped laughing. They stopped talking much. They stopped looking people in the eye. It was like the accident did not only take their legs, it took their childhood, too. Harrison spent years trying to fix what could not be fixed. He paid for the best doctors, the best therapy, the best machines, new plans every month, new promises from professionals who sounded confident until nothing changed. Some days Ethan would stare at the wall for hours. Some days Noah would cry and cry until he fell asleep tired. And Harrison would sit in the hall outside their room listening, feeling useless. Then came the helpers. First one, then another, some stayed a week, some stayed a month, some left without even saying goodbye. One nanny said the job was too heavy and she could not handle the sadness in the house. Another was caught taking pills from the twins' medical box. One took pictures of the boys and tried to sell them online. One disappeared and never came back. And Harrison later found out she had been stealing small things the whole time. After that, Harrison stopped trusting. He stopped believing in kind people. He stopped believing anyone could love his sons without wanting something. So when Elena came, he did not welcome her the way a normal person would. She was a black maid, quiet, calm, and respectful. She did her work without asking too many questions. She did not try to impress him. She did not speak loud. She did not act like she wanted his pity. And that made Harrison even more suspicious because to him, it felt like she was hiding something. So he did what he always did when he was scared. He tried to control it. He installed cameras all over the house. Not only in the halls, but in the places where the boys spent most of their time. He told himself it was for safety. He told himself he was protecting his children. But deep down he was waiting to catch Elena doing something wrong. Waiting to see the real her when she thought no one was watching. Then one evening, Harrison came home from work earlier than usual. The house was quiet like always, but as he walked past the playroom, he heard something that made him stop. A sound he had not heard in a long time. His sons' voices. Not loud, not clear, but there was something there. A sound that did not belong to sadness. Harrison's hand pushed the door open so fast it hit the wall and he froze. Elena was on the floor between Ethan and Noah's wheelchairs, her arms around them like a shield. The twins were leaning forward, shaking, trying hard like they were pulling their bodies out of deep water. Their hands were gripping the chair arms. Their faces were tight with effort. Their legs were trembling, not fully standing, but trying in a way Harrison had not seen in years. Elena was whispering to them like she was speaking to something inside them. "Come on, my boys," she said softly. "One more time. You can do it." Harrison could not move. His mouth opened, but no words came out because doctors said they would never do that. And the one person helping them was the maid he had been trying to catch. Elena looked up and saw him standing there. And the moment their eyes met, Harrison realized this was not a normal job. This was something else. Something that started long before Elena walked into his house. And what Harrison was about to find out would shake him in a way money could never fix. So stay with us until the end because what happened next will leave you in tears. Harrison burst into the playroom with his suit jacket still on. He had come home early, tired and empty, expecting the same quiet house. Instead, he heard a sound that did not fit the last 5 years, his son's voices. He pushed the door open and froze. Ethan and Noah were leaning forward in their wheelchairs. Their hands gripped the armrests. Their legs trembled, not standing, not walking, but trying. Their faces were strained like boys lifting something heavy. Elena was on her knees between them, not pulling them, not forcing them, only guiding them with her voice. "Slow," she whispered. "Ethan, breathe. Noah, hold on. That's it." Harrison could not speak. Doctors had told him for years. "Your boys will need chairs for life. Focus on comfort, not hope." He had paid for therapy, machines, and experts who talked for an hour and left him with nothing. He stopped expecting change, yet he was watching change with his own eyes. Elena looked up. Her face shifted for a moment like she had been caught doing something private. Then she stood up carefully and stepped back. "Mr. Harrison," she said, "I can explain." Harrison's voice came out sharp. "What are you doing to my sons?" "I am not hurting them," Elena said quickly. "I would never." "You were hired to care for them," he said. "Not to do strange things with their bodies." Ethan made a small sound and sat back, tired. Noah did not look at Harrison. His eyes stayed on Elena like she was the only safe person in the room. Elena leaned close to the twins. "Rest now," she said softly. "You both did well." They listened. That alone shook Harrison. His sons did not listen to new people. They hardly listened to him. Harrison turned to Elena. "Come to my office." Elena looked at the twins first. Noah reached for her hand. She touched his fingers once. "Gentle. I'll be back," she whispered. "Stay together." In the office, Harrison shut the door. The wall of screens showed every part of the house. Elena stood near the chair, but did not sit. Harrison pointed at the screens. "Those cameras are there for a reason." Elena's eyes moved over them. "Because you don't trust people." "Yes," Harrison said. "I don't." He clicked the playroom recording and rewound it. On the screen, Elena was calm, her hands light. She did not lift the boys. She encouraged them, waited, and praised small effort. Ethan tried to push up. Noah tried to hold his body steady. It was not magic. It was work. Harrison paused the video. "How did you get them to try?" Elena hesitated. "I spoke to them like boys, not like broken things." Harrison felt anger rise, then fear under it. "Do you know what happens if you push them too far?" he asked. Do you know what I have already lost? Elena swallowed. I know loss, she said. Harrison leaned forward. Then you should understand why I watch everything. People have stolen from this house. People have taken pictures of my children. People have lied to my face. Elena held his gaze. Not everyone is the same. They all leave, Harrison said. Elena's mouth tightened. I'm not here to leave. Harrison laughed once without warmth. Then tell me why you are here. Elena looked down at her hands. I made a promise, she said. A promise to who? Harrison asked. Elena lifted her head, but her voice lowered. I can't tell you yet. Harrison's jaw tightened. There is no yet in my house. If you know something about my family, you tell me. It seconded. Elena took a slow breath. If you send me away, she said, your sons will close again. They are opening for the first time in a long time. Please don't punish them because you fear me. The words were simple, but they hit hard. Harrison saw Ethan's tired face in his mind and Noah's hand reaching for Elena. He turned away, hiding his wet eyes by looking at the screens. He did not want Elena to see that he was breaking inside. Go back to them, he said finally. No more standing work without my approval. Elena nodded. Thank you. She reached for the door, then stopped. Mr. Harrison, she said quietly. I never came here to take anything from you. When Elena left, Harrison sat alone and watched the playroom screen. Ethan and Noah leaned toward Elena as she opened a picture book. Their shoulders loosened, their faces looked less trapped. Harrison opened the file his staff had given him when they hired Elena. It was thin, too thin. No real history, no old references, only a few phone numbers and a clean background check. His fear returned. If she hid something big, it could destroy his sons when the truth came out. He called his investigator. I need everything on Elena, he said. Work history, hospital records, anything tonight. After the call, Harrison walked down the hall to Elena's room. His steps were quiet, his palms were cold. He told himself he was protecting his children. He opened her door and stepped inside. The room was plain. A small suitcase under the bed, a Bible on the table, clean clothes folded with care, nothing expensive, nothing that looked stolen. He opened the top drawer of her dresser, socks, a comb, a small bottle of lotion. Then a photo face down. Harrison lifted it and turned it over, his knees weakened. Elena was in a paramedic uniform, kneeling beside a crushed car on a highway. Blue lights glowed behind her. Her face looked exhausted and scared, like she had seen something that changed her forever. He flipped the photo to the back. A date was written there, clear and steady. It was the same date his wife died. Harrison's fingers shook as he read it again. In the hall, he heard Elena's soft voice with the twins, and the old lullaby began outside. Harrison sat on the edge of Elena's bed with the photograph in his hand. The date on the back kept staring at him. It was the same date he had tried to erase from every calendar. The date his wife died and his boys came home in wheelchairs. From the hallway, the lullaby floated in again, soft and steady. Sophia used to sing it when the twins were small, when fear kept them awake. How did Elena know it? He tried to tell himself it could be a coincidence. Maybe Elena learned the song online. Maybe she guessed the tune, but the words were not a popular song. Sophia made up the second verse herself when the twins were babies. Harrison remembered laughing at it in the kitchen, telling her it was silly, and Sophia telling him, "It calms them. Let me have it. No one outside this house should know that verse." Harrison opened the drawer again and flipped the photo once more. The back was not just a date. Under the date were a few lines written in careful letters like someone writing with shaking hands. "Find my boys. Promise me." Harrison's skin went cold. Sophia's voice filled his head, not as a sound, but as a feeling. He could almost see her face, pale under the street lights, fighting to stay awake, refusing to let go until she knew her children were safe. He closed the drawer, locked it, then realized how foolish that was. A lock would not stop the past from walking into his house. He hurried out before Elena could return and see his face. Not like this. Harrison put the photo back in the drawer where he found it. He closed it and stepped out of her room. He told himself he was protecting his sons, but the truth felt ugly in his mouth. He was scared, and when Harrison was scared, he searched and he watched. He returned to his office and sat before the wall of screens. Elena was in the playroom with Ethan and Noah, a picture book open on her lap. The boys leaned toward her like the silence in them was loosening. A knock came. His assistant, Mr. Brooks, entered with a folder. "The caregiver file you asked for," Brooks said. Harrison flipped through it. Home care experience, clean background, no real history. The pages felt too thin. "Call the agency," Harrison said. "Tell them I want everything they have on Elena today." Brooks hesitated. "Sir, she's doing well with the boys." "That doesn't change what I said," Harrison replied. Brooks left. Harrison's phone buzzed. His investigator, Alex Turner. "Give me a few hours. I'll find what the file doesn't show." Turner texted. Harrison looked back at the screens. Elena held up 2 toy cars. "This one is Ethan," she said. "And this one is Noah. Dock out." Ethan reached out and tapped the toy car. Noah let out a small laugh that sounded like it surprised him. Harrison's throat tightened. 5 years of pain in a woman he did not know was pulling small sounds of life out of his sons. He turned off the playroom monitor and stood trying to calm himself. He walked the hallway and stopped at the playroom door. He did not go in. He watched through the window. Elena had the boy's hands in hers. She pressed their palms together, then opened their fingers one by one, slow and careful, like she was teaching their hands how to remember. "Tell me when it hurts," she said. Noah whispered, "It's okay." Elena nodded. "We stop when it hurts, not when you're tired." Ethan asked very low, "Why do you care?" Elena paused, then answered, "Because you matter." Harrison stepped back, ashamed of the tears that pushed at his eyes. He went upstairs and shut himself in his room. He opened his laptop and typed Elena's name. Too many results, too much noise. Then he typed the date of the crash and the highway name from the reports he still kept in his head. A local news story appeared. A crash. A mother dead at the scene. 2 small boys injured. Harrison's jaw clenched as he read because the words always took him back to that night. He scrolled down. A photo showed paramedics beside an ambulance. 3 people in uniform. On the left stood a young woman with tired eyes. Elena. Harrison's mouth went dry. It was her before the apron, before the quiet. She looked like someone who had seen too much and had not been able to put it down. The caption said, One responder was later taken to the hospital after complications from the incident. Complications. Harrison stared at that word until it blurred. What happened to her after she saved his sons? Why did she leave the service? Why did she end up in his house? His phone buzzed again. Turner found her service ID. She was a paramedic. She resigned months after that crash. I'm digging into why. Harrison read it twice. Then he looked at the camera wall again like it might answer him. He pulled up the twins' bedroom. Ethan slept with his hand curled near his cheek. Noah lay awake, staring at the ceiling. Elena sat on the floor beside his bed, not on a chair, close enough to comfort him, far enough to give him space. Noah whispered, "Are you coming back tomorrow?" "I'm here," Elena said. "I'll be here in the morning, too." "You promise?" Noah asked. Elena's shoulders lifted slightly like she was holding something in. "I promise," she said. Harrison turned away from the screen and covered his mouth. That word again, promise. The photo, the lullaby, the way she spoke to his sons like she was carrying their mother's love in her pocket. Then another message came in fast. "Turner, sit down. She was admitted to a hospital the same night your wife died." "I'm pulling the record now." Harrison did sit down. He held his phone with both hands and waited for Turner to call. He kept seeing the date on the back of the photo. He kept hearing the lullaby. The call came at 2:14 a.m. "Mr. Harrison," Turner said, "I got the hospital log." "Read it," Harrison said. Elena Brown admitted the same night as the crash. Emergency maternity care. Premature labor. 24 weeks. Harrison did not speak. Turner continued, slower now. "The baby did not survive. It says infant deceased." Harrison stood up then sat back down. He felt like the room was leaning. "My wife," he whispered, "died that night." "I know," Turner said. "That's why I called right away." Harrison looked at the wall of screens in the twins' room. Elena sat in the dark beside Noah. Her head was bowed, her lips moved like she was praying. "She lost a child," Harrison said. "Yes," Turner replied. "And she left the ambulance service after that. The record is real." Harrison closed his eyes. He remembered the rain on glass. He remembered police lights. He remembered a doctor saying Sophia was gone. He did not remember the paramedics' faces. He was too broken to see anyone clearly. Now, one of them was in his house. He asked, "Why would she hide this?" Turner paused. "I don't know, sir, but there's more. She has been sending money to a therapy fund for your boys from her." Harrison's throat tightened. "Prove it." "I will," Turner said. "I'm bringing papers in the morning." Harrison ended the call and sat in silence. He tried to see Elena as a stranger with a plan. It was easier that way. But the hospital record did not fit a thief. When morning came, Harrison watched from the hall. Elena made breakfast for Ethan and Noah. Simple food, careful portions, warm voice. Ethan took a bite because she asked. Noah drank his juice without pushing it away. In the playroom, Elena did not start with exercises. She started with a book. "This story is about two brothers," she said. "They get hurt and they think life is over, but it isn't." Noah's fingers shifted on the armrest. "Small but real," Elena noticed. "I saw that," she whispered. Noah looked at her. "Don't tell Dad," he said. "Why?" Elena asked. "He gets sad," Noah answered. Harrison turned away from the camera. His son was trying to protect him. That afternoon, Turner arrived with a folder. Harrison read the pages in his office. Transfers, dates, amounts, money sent to a trust tied to Ethan and Noah's therapy over and over. It was not a huge fortune, but it was steady, like someone giving up comfort to keep a promise. Harrison's hands shook as he put the folder down. Elena had been paying into his son's care before she ever became their maid. Later, when the house was asleep, Harrison opened camera 12, the small corner near Elena's room. Her door was half open. She sat on the bed with a cloth bag in her lap. She opened it and took out something tiny, a baby sock, no bigger than his thumb. She pressed it to her cheek, silent, tears sliding down. Then she put the sock back, closed the bag, and opened her Bible. Her lips moved in a soft prayer. Harrison felt a hard knot in his throat, and he hated himself for it. He had been calling her a risk, hoping to catch her doing wrong. Yet, she was grieving in his house. The next morning, he tried to sit with Ethan and Noah at breakfast. Ethan kept his eyes on his plate. Noah asked one question: "Is Elena coming?" Harrison said, "Yes, she is." Noah relaxed at once. He watched the screens again that night. Elena helped Ethan lift his arms, then let him rest. She spoke in simple steps. Up, hold, down. Good. She did not push. She waited. Ethan dropped a soft block and made a low sound of anger. Elena moved closer. "It is hard," she said. "But you are still here. That matters." Ethan stared at the floor. "Mama would hate this," he muttered. Elena breathed in. "Steady." "No," she said. "She would sit right here and tell you she is proud." Noah asked, "Did you know our mama?" Elena kept her eyes on Ethan's hands. "I met her once," she said quietly. Harrison froze in his chair. He leaned toward the screen. Noah asked, "When?" Elena's voice shook just a little. "On a night when the road was loud and scary," she said. "She was hurt, but she was thinking about you." Ethan whispered, "What did she say?" Elena took a slow breath. She said, "Please keep my boys safe." Harrison could not swallow. Ethan tried again. His hand shook, but it stayed closed this time. "Look," he whispered. Elena nodded. "I'm looking." "You did it." Ethan's mouth lifted into a small smile. It was small, but it was real. Harrison turned off the monitor. He walked into the hallway and stopped outside the playroom door. He listened to the boys' quiet voices and Elena's soft answers. He did not go in. He went to the kitchen and waited there, standing, hands tight. He needed the truth from her mouth, not from files and screens. If she left without warning, his sons would break again. Elena walked in, tired, holding a mug of tea. She stopped when she saw him. "Mr. Harrison," she said, "is something wrong?" Harrison lifted the photograph. Elena's face changed at once. "I found this," he said. "I know you were there that night. I know you went to the hospital after. I know you lost a baby, and I know you've been paying for my son's therapy." Elena closed her eyes. Her shoulders dropped like she had been holding her breath for years. "Yes," she whispered. "I was there." Elena did not move from the kitchen doorway. The tea in her hand trembled and she set it down slowly like she was afraid it would spill and make the moment worse. Harrison held the photograph between them. His voice was low but hard. "You walked into my house like a stranger," he said. "You signed my contract. You looked me in the eye. And you never said a word about the night my wife died. Elena swallowed. I didn't come here to reopen your wound. You reopened it the moment you sang her song. Harrison said, you reopened it the moment my sons leaned toward you like you were the only safe place left. Elena's eyes filled, but she kept her chin up. They needed someone, she said. They had me. Harrison snapped. The words left his mouth, and he regretted them right away because he knew it was not true. He was there, but he was not reaching them. His sons had been drifting away in front of him for years, and he kept calling it protection. Elena's voice stayed soft. You love them, she said. But love is not only money and doctors. Love is also presence. It is sitting with them when nothing changes. Harrison's jaw tightened. Don't tell me what love is. Elena nodded slowly like she accepted his anger as part of his pain. Then let me tell you what happened, she said. Because you deserve the truth, and your sons deserve it, too. Harrison's hands shook. Start with the promise, he said. What did my wife say to you? Elena's eyes went to the floor. Her voice dropped. Your wife was trapped, she said. The car was crushed. I could hear her breathing, but it was not good. She knew. I knew. The other responders knew. Harrison leaned forward, gripping the counter. He felt like he might fall if he let go. Elena continued. We got Ethan out first, she said. He was crying. He was scared, but he was alive. Then Noah. He was quiet. His eyes were open, but he was in shock. Harrison's throat burned. He could see it in his head, even though he never wanted to. The road lights, the wet air, the sound of metal. Elena wiped her cheek with the back of her hand. When I told her your boys were alive, she said. Your wife grabbed my wrist. Her hand was cold and shaking, but her grip was strong. Harrison's breath came shallow. What did she say? He asked again. Elena looked at him now. She said, if I don't make it, promise me you will find my boys. Promise me you will love them the way I would. Harrison's knees weakened. He pressed his palm to his mouth. A sound escaped him, not a word, a small broken noise. Elena took a slow breath. I promised, she whispered, right there on the road. I promised. Harrison stared at her. His anger had nowhere to stand anymore. It slid away, leaving only pain. Then another thought hit him. Sharp. And your baby, he said. You were pregnant. Elena's face crumpled for a second, then she pulled it together. Yes, she said. You lost her that night, Harrison said, his voice cracking. Elena closed her eyes. The shock, she whispered. The fear, the running, the pulling, the loud sounds, it pushed my body into early labor. I didn't even know it was starting until I felt the pain in the ambulance. Harrison could not speak. Elena's voice shook. They rushed me into the hospital, she said. Your sons were in surgery. Your wife was gone and I was giving birth too early. She paused. Her fingers pressed into the counter. My daughter lived for 20 minutes, she whispered. I held her while she struggled. She was so small, so quiet. Harrison's eyes burned. He could not stop the tears. He did not wipe them. He did not care anymore. Elena looked at him through her tears. The whole time, she said, I kept thinking, at least I saved someone else's children. That thought was the only thing holding me together. Harrison's shoulders dropped. He sat on a kitchen chair like his body could not stand with that truth inside it. Why did you hide it? He asked softer now. Why not tell me the first day? Elena's voice steadied. Because I didn't come for sympathy, she said. I came for them. Harrison lifted his head. And the money? He asked. Why were you paying for my sons? Elena nodded. I was trying to keep my promise, she said. When I left the ambulance service, I couldn't stop seeing their faces. I asked around quietly. I found the right people. I found out what they needed. I sent what I could. Harrison stared at her like he had never seen her before. This was not a maid chasing a paycheck. This was a woman who had been carrying 2 children in her heart while mourning her own. Elena wiped her face. When I heard you were still hiring and losing people, she said, I knew I had to come. Not because I wanted to take your wife's place. I can't. I wouldn't. I came because your boys were sinking and you were sinking, too. The kitchen fell quiet. The fridge hummed. The clock ticked. Harrison's chest rose and fell. And he felt shame in every breath. Then fear returned, twisting his thoughts. If you cared this much, Harrison said, then why enter my home like a stranger? What else are you hiding? Elena flinched. Nothing, she said. Harrison stood up fast. His voice turned sharp again. You lied by staying silent, he said. You used a job to get close to my sons. Elena's eyes widened. No, she said. I didn't use them. Harrison's fear made him cruel. You lost your baby, he said. And now you are using my sons to fill that hole. Elena's face went pale. Don't say that. Harrison could not stop. You made yourself important, he said. You made them depend on you. And what happens when you leave? What happens when you decide you've healed enough? Elena's voice rose for the first time. I would never leave them. Harrison shook his head. Everyone leaves, he said. Everyone. A small voice came from the hallway. Dad. Both of them froze. Ethan's voice was weak and sleepy, but it was real. Why are you shouting? No's voice followed. Where is Elena? Elena's face broke. She moved toward the hallway, but Harrison stepped in front of her, blocking her path like a wall. Don't, he said, his voice tight. Not now. Elena stared at him. Pain filled her eyes. She pushed past him anyway and knelt at the hallway corner where the twins could see her from their door. It's okay, she whispered. I'm here. Ethan's eyes were wet. Are you leaving? He asked. Elena's hand covered her mouth. Her shoulders shook once. She tried to stay strong for them. I love you both, she said softly. You hear me? I love you. No's voice trembled. Please stay. Harrison stood behind her, frozen. He wanted to say something that would fix it, but fear held his tongue. Elena stood up slowly. She turned to Harrison. Her voice was small. I kept my promise, she whispered. I hope one day you understand. Harrison's mouth opened. Nothing came out. Elena walked upstairs. 15 minutes later, she came back down with her small suitcase. She did not shout. She did not beg. She did not threaten. She just walked to the front door like a person walking away from something she never wanted to lose. Ethan cried from the hallway. Noah called her name again and again. Elena paused at the door. She looked back at the twins. Then she looked at Harrison. Her eyes were full of tears, but her voice stayed gentle. Take care of them, she said. The door closed behind her. The silence that followed was not calm. It was a disaster. The house changed the moment Elena left. It was still quiet, but the quiet felt empty, like warmth had been taken out, and nothing replaced it. That night, Ethan pushed his food away. Noah did the same. They sat by the window in their wheelchairs and watched the street. Harrison tried to talk, but the boys did not answer. When he touched Ethan's shoulder, Ethan pulled away. "You made her go," Ethan whispered. Harrison had no words. He went to his office and stared at the camera screens. The playroom looked neat, but the book Elena read from was still on the rug. It felt like a room waiting for someone who was not coming. The next day, Harrison called the agency for another caregiver, then ended the call and felt sick. He knew his sons would not accept a stranger. He also knew he was still trying to fix pain with control. By the third day, the twins stopped asking for Elena. That was worse than crying. Ethan stopped speaking. Noah stopped looking at anyone. They only stared outside, silent, as if hope had been locked behind the glass. Turner came with a final report. "It's all true," he said. "Elena was there that night. Your wife's note is real. Elena lost a baby the same night, and the therapy fund, she paid into it for years." Harrison held the papers and felt shame burn in his chest. "So, she didn't trick us," he said. "She kept a promise," Turner replied, then left. That night, Harrison stood in the twins' doorway. Ethan slept with dried tears on his cheeks. Noah lay awake. "I'm sorry," Harrison whispered. Noah did not turn. "Bring her back," he said. Harrison sat in the chair by the bed. "I don't know if she will," he admitted. Noah's voice was small. "You always make people leave," he said. Harrison stayed there until morning. He tried to make breakfast. The eggs burned. The boys did not eat. He cleaned the pan and felt useless. Late that evening, an alarm shrieked from Ethan's monitor. Harrison ran and saw Ethan lying still. His lips had a bluish tint. His chest was not rising. Harrison froze. His mind went blank. He grabbed his phone, but his hand shook so badly he could not unlock it. Noah screamed, "Daddy, help him." Harrison finally dialed. Not the emergency number. He called Elena. She answered on the first ring. "Mr. Harrison, Ethan isn't breathing." Harrison choked out. "I can't do anything. Please put him on his side," Elena said. "Turn his head slightly down." "I'm coming now." Harrison did what she said. Noah cried and held Ethan's hand. Every second felt heavy. The front door slammed. Elena ran into the room wearing pajamas and a coat. Her hair was loose. Her face was tight with focus. "Move," she said. Harrison stepped back. Elena checked Ethan's mouth and throat. "He choked," she said. "His airway is blocked." She looked at Noah. "Stay with me. Your brother is coming back." Noah nodded, shaking. Elena moved with steady hands. She cleared Ethan's mouth, tilted his head, then gave rescue breaths. Ethan coughed hard. Air rushed in. His chest rose. Color returned slowly. Elena kept one hand on his chest. "You're safe," she whispered. "I'm here." Ethan's eyes opened a little. "Elena," he breathed. "I'm right here," she said. Harrison slid down the wall. A rough cry tore out of him. He had pushed away the person saving his child, and she still came. The ambulance arrived and took Ethan to the hospital. Noah gripped Elena's hand in the hallway. "Don't go," he begged. In the hospital, doctors said Ethan would be okay, but he needed observation. Harrison sat near Elena, both of them exhausted. "I was wrong," Harrison said. "I said things I should never say." Elena's voice was quiet. "You were scared. I still am," he admitted. "But fear made me cruel." It almost cost Ethan his life. Elena looked down. I didn't come to win, she said. I came to keep a promise. Harrison swallowed. Will you come back? He asked. Not as a worker I watch, as someone we trust. Elena's eyes watered. Your sons decide that, she said. When they were allowed into Ethan's room, Noah rolled in first and held Elena's hand. Ethan looked tired but awake. Don't send her away, Ethan whispered. Harrison knelt beside the bed. I won't, he said. I'm sorry. Noah looked at Harrison. Mama sent her, he said. Harrison nodded. Yes, your mama asked Elena to find you. She kept her word. Elena crouched beside them. I lost my baby the same night I saved you, she told them. For a long time, I felt empty. Your mama gave me a way to love again. Ethan stared at her. Can you stay? He asked. Elena nodded through tears. If that's what you want, we want you, Noah said. A week after the hospital, Harrison took down many cameras. He left only the ones the doctors required for medical safety. He told Elena where the keys were, and he stopped locking doors inside his own house. He also sat with the boys during therapy, clapping for tiny wins, learning patience, learning to stay even when his fear returned. 6 months later, the house had sound again, not loud, but alive. Harrison learned how to make simple meals. Elena helped the boys with gentle exercises. Ethan and Noah laughed during story time. They still had hard days, but they were not alone. One morning, Noah looked at Elena and said, Mom, can we go outside? Elena paused, then smiled through tears. Yes, she said. Harrison watched them from the doorway and took Elena's hand. Thank you, he whispered. Elena squeezed back. For letting me stay, she replied. Harrison finally understood that cameras could not hold a family together. Love could, and love began the day he stopped pushing it away. But let's go deeper into what happened in those early days after Elena's arrival. Harrison's suspicion didn't just start with the cameras, it was rooted in the string of disappointments from previous helpers. There was the first nanny, a young woman named Clara, who seemed enthusiastic at first but crumbled under the weight of the twins' needs. She would often sit in the corner, scrolling on her phone, ignoring their quiet pleas for attention. Harrison caught her once, mid-shift, packing her bags and muttering about how the house felt like a prison. Then came Maria, who had glowing references but turned out to be more interested in the family's valuables. Harrison noticed small items missing, a watch here, a necklace there, and when confronted, she denied it all until the evidence from the cameras forced her out. These betrayals piled up, each one chipping away at Harrison's faith in humanity. By the time Elena showed up, he was a fortress, walls high and impenetrable. Yet, Elena's quiet demeanor began to crack those walls in ways he didn't expect. In the beginning, she didn't just clean and cook, she observed. She noticed how Ethan preferred his blanket folded a certain way, how Noah's eyes lit up at the sight of a particular toy car from their pre-accident days. She brought those cars out from storage one afternoon, dusting them off and placing them gently in their laps. The boys didn't play at first, but their fingers traced the wheels, remembering. Harrison watched this on the cameras, his heart twisting with a mix of gratitude and paranoia. Was this genuine care, or a calculated move to gain trust? He replayed the footage multiple times, searching for signs of deceit, but found only sincerity in her actions. As the weeks passed, Alina's influence grew subtly but profoundly. She introduced small routines that brought structure to the chaos of their lives. Mornings began with gentle stretches, not forced therapy sessions, but playful movements disguised as games. "Let's pretend we're trees reaching for the sun," she'd say, guiding their arms upward with feather-light touches. Ethan, who had long since given up on any physical effort, began to participate hesitantly, his face contorting with concentration. Noah followed suit, his competitive spirit sparking for the first time in years. Harrison, from his office, monitored these sessions obsessively. He zoomed in on Alina's expressions, analyzed her tone, even timed how long she spent with each boy to ensure fairness. But what he saw wasn't manipulation, it was patience incarnate. One particularly difficult day, when Noah's frustration boiled over into tears after failing to grasp a block, Alina didn't scold or pity him. Instead, she sat beside him on the floor, sharing a story from her own life about a time she felt defeated. "I once thought I'd never stand again after a hard fall," she said vaguely, her voice carrying a weight that hinted at deeper scars. Noah quieted, listening, and for a moment, the room held a fragile peace. Harrison felt a pang of jealousy. He wished he could connect like that, but it was quickly overshadowed by his growing curiosity about Alina's past. The discovery of the photograph wasn't Harrison's only intrusion. In his desperation for answers, he rifled through more of her belongings that night, finding a worn journal tucked away in her suitcase. He hesitated before opening it, knowing he was crossing a line, but fear propelled him forward. The entries were sparse, dated sporadically over the years. One from shortly after the accident read, "The boys' faces haunt me. I couldn't save everyone that night, but I promised her I'd try." Another, more recent, "Finally in the house. They need more than medicine, they need hope. I pray I can give it without breaking." Harrison's hands trembled as he read, piecing together fragments of Alina's story. She wasn't just a paramedic, she was a survivor, carrying the weight of that fateful night like an invisible burden. Closing the journal, he felt a surge of guilt, but it didn't stop him from delving deeper. He expanded his investigation, contacting old colleagues from her paramedic days through Turner. Reports came back of Alina's exemplary service record, marred only by her sudden resignation after personal tragedy. One former partner described her as the one who never left a scene until everyone was accounted for, but noted how the crash changed her, how she became withdrawn, haunted. Harrison sat with this information late into the night, the screens flickering with live feeds of the sleeping house. For the first time, he questioned his own methods. Was his surveillance protecting his family, or imprisoning them all in a web of distrust? Meanwhile, the bond between Alina and the twins deepened in unexpected ways. She began incorporating music into their daily routine, starting with simple clapping games that evolved into singing sessions. The lullaby wasn't the only song. She taught them folk tunes from her childhood, melodies that filled the empty halls with tentative joy. Ethan, who had been mute for days at a time, started humming along, his voice cracking but persistent. Noah joined in, his laughter bubbling up during the silly verses. Harrison overheard one such session while passing by, pausing to listen from the shadows. It stirred memories of Sophia, who had filled their home with similar sounds before the accident. The resemblance was uncanny, and it fueled Harrison's internal conflict. Part of him wanted to embrace this change, to thank Elena for bringing light back into their lives. But another part, the scarred survivor, whispered warnings of vulnerability. What if this was all too good to be true? What if Elena's motives were more complex than a simple promise? He decided to test her, subtly at first, leaving valuables in plain sight, assigning tasks that pushed boundaries. Elena never faltered. She handled everything with grace, her focus solely on the boy's well-being. As Harrison's investigation unearthed more details, the emotional layers peeled back further. Turner uncovered hospital records confirming Elena's loss, but also letters she had written anonymously to support groups for grieving parents. In one, she described the crash in veiled terms. That night stole my future, but it gave me a purpose, to honor a mother's final wish. Harrison read these under the dim light of his desk lamp, tears blurring the words. He began to see Elena not as a threat, but as a mirror to his own pain. Both had lost irreplaceable parts of themselves that night. Both were trying to rebuild from the ruins. This realization didn't come easily. It was punctuated by sleepless nights where Harrison paced the halls, replaying memories of Sophia's laughter, the boy's pre-accident energy. He started joining the family more, sitting in on story times, attempting awkward conversations with Ethan and Noah. The boys responded cautiously at first, their trust eroded by years of his emotional distance. But Elena encouraged him gently, without judgment. "They're waiting for you," she'd say softly when he hesitated. Slowly, Harrison began to let go of his iron grip on control, realizing that true protection came from connection, not isolation. The confrontation in the kitchen wasn't just a climax. It was a catharsis built on months of unspoken tensions. When Harrison accused Elena of using the boys to heal her own wounds, it wasn't mere cruelty, it was his deepest fear verbalized, that love could be conditional, that attachment meant inevitable loss. Elena's response, raw and unfiltered, laid bare her sacrifices. She spoke of nights spent in quiet vigil after her daughter's death, of channeling that grief into anonymous donations for the twins' care. "Every dollar was a step toward keeping my word," she explained, her voice steady despite the tears. Harrison listened, really listened, for the first time. The boy's interruption from the hallway shattered the remaining barriers, forcing him to confront the damage his fear had wrought. As Elena prepared to leave, Harrison's regret crystallized. He spent that night in turmoil, replaying their conversation, seeing the pain in her eyes. The house without her felt like a shell, echoing with absence. The emergency with Ethan was the turning point, but recovery extended beyond that night. In the hospital, as doctors monitored Ethan, Harrison and Elena shared quiet conversations about their shared trauma. He opened up about Sophia's final days, the dreams they had for their family. Elena shared snippets of her life before the crash, a happy pregnancy, a career she loved, now forever altered. These exchanges built a bridge of understanding. Upon returning home, Harrison didn't just remove cameras, he renovated the playroom, adding adaptive equipment suggested by Elena. Family dinners became a ritual, where stories were shared, laughter encouraged. The twins' progress accelerated. Ethan took tentative steps with walkers, Noah's speech flowed more freely. Elena became more than a caregiver, she was family, her presence a testament to resilience. Months turned into a year, and the household transformed. Harrison pursued therapy for himself, addressing his trust issues. He and Elena grew closer, their bond forged in shared purpose. One evening, as the sun set, the family gathered in the garden, the boys wheeling around, chasing fireflies with adapted nets. Harrison watched Elena laugh with them, her face alight with genuine joy. He realized then that healing wasn't linear, it was a mosaic of moments, promises kept, and fears overcome. The story of their family became one of redemption, proving that from the ashes of tragedy, new life could bloom. Dear viewers, this story is not just about a rich man, a black maid, and two paralyzed boys. It is about what fear can do to a human heart and what love can still repair when everything looks ruined. Harrison thought cameras would keep his sons safe, but cameras cannot comfort a child at night. Cameras cannot replace patience and cameras cannot heal a broken home. He learned that the real danger was not always outside the house. Sometimes the danger was inside the heart. Fear, pride, and the habit of pushing good people away because you are scared to lose again. Elena showed us something deep. That real love is not noise. It is consistency. It is showing up again and again, even when nobody claps for you. It is keeping a promise, even when it costs you. And Ethan and Noah remind us that children do not need perfect parents. They need present parents. They need people who will stay, listen, and fight for them. So dear viewers, let this story teach us something simple. Pain can make us hard, but we must not let pain make us cruel. Trust is risky, yes, but refusing to trust can destroy the very thing we are trying to protect. Sometimes the help we need will come in a form we did not expect. And if we push it away, we may regret it for the rest of our lives. Now I want you to comment below. Tell us where you are watching from and tell us one lesson you learned from this story. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel and share this story with someone who needs hope today. And if you want more stories from us, comment more stories and you will be the first to get the next emotional stories we drop. Before you go, answer these 3 questions in the comments section. 1. Do you think Harrison was protecting his sons or was fear controlling him? 2. Would you have forgiven Harrison if you were Elena? 3. What is one promise you have made in your life that you still want to keep no matter what?